Hey, today is Monday, March the 7th, and it's great to see you again. We're in the middle of Lent. Ash Wednesday was this last week. This is the time of the year to really deepen your faith, to walk more closely with the Lord, to dive into Scripture, to get back into your church. If you've fallen away, now is the time. And if you live here in the Hooper area and if you're looking for a church, we'd love to have you come and worship with us. We worship every Sunday morning at 9. And also throughout Lent, we'll be doing a midweek Wednesday evening worship service at 7. The worship service will last about 30 minutes. If you want to come early, we'll be eating at 6, but you don't have to come at 6. If you'd like to, we'd love to have you, but worship at 7 p.m. every Wednesday. So come join us. Everybody is welcome. We'd love to have you come worship with us here at Redeemer. But today I want to talk to you about how do we live a life that is more closely aligned to Jesus? You know, Jesus showed us how to live, and we are called to strive to follow in his way, to walk in his footsteps. Now, we'll fail, and that's what we do. We come up short because we're human and we're filled with sin, and no matter how hard we try to do it, we're not Jesus. We fall short, and we need his grace. We need his mercy, but that does not mean that we should not strive to live a better life, to follow in Jesus' footsteps. And today we really want to focus on being humble. And for a lot of us, this is hard to do. And it's hard because we live in a world that so often we're trying to get higher in life. We're trying to elevate ourselves. And as a father of 2 young boys who love sports, I see it in their lives, and so much what they do, they're trying to be better than the other team, and often they're trying to be better than their peers. My youngest son, Benny, just went through tryouts for the 2022-2023 basketball season, so about a year away, and they're already doing these tryouts, and he played basketball this last season, and he wasn't on the top team, he wasn't on the second team, he wasn't on the third team. He was on one of those lower tier teams, and he's hoping that he's gotten a lot better this season. He's had a great year. He's hoping that next year they'll place him on a higher tiered team. The competition will be better. He'll be with, a little bit better basketball players, hopefully as teammates. But, we'll see how it goes. But, that's sports, and so much of what kids do is trying to improve themselves, to elevate themselves to being better students, better musicians, better athletes, you name it. And there's a lot of good things to that. It pushes young people to make themselves better, and I don't think that's a bad thing. However, Scripture also tells us that sometimes this pridefulness, sometimes this trying to elevate ourselves above other people can actually work against us. A fellow pastor friend of mine once said he found one of the keys to being a good pastor was he discovered that he should not take himself so seriously. The first time I heard him say this, I was confused. What do you mean, don't take yourself so seriously? That doesn't make sense. If you're not taking yourself seriously, how are you going to do a good job as a pastor? How are you going to grow and become a better pastor? And he said, he really fell into this trap and thinking of himself more highly than he should have. And sometimes pastors, we can fall into this trap because, truth be told, it's a profession and it's a way of life that does get a lot of respect. People hear that I'm a pastor and they automatically think more highly of me. At least a lot of times they do. And sometimes it can almost go to a person's head. There's a number of different ways that pastors like to be called. And Lutherans, we typically call ourselves pastors. However, there's some different churches that call their clergy ministers. And in some ways, I almost think that's a better term because minister talks about what pastors and what Christians in general are supposed to do. We're meant to minister to other people. We're meant to serve them, to minister to them, to help pick them up, or to minister to their needs. Now, pastor, where does that term come from? Pastor comes from the old sense of being a shepherd and shepherding one's flocks. And so there's goodness when it comes to the term pastor as well. But Jesus really strives to teach us that we are meant to be humble. are meant to minister to others, to pick each other up. In fact, in Matthew 23:11, he says this, "The greatest among you will be servants, but all who exalt themselves will be humbled, and all who humble themselves will be exalted." So today, be reminded that if you want to be great, if you want to be mighty, if you want to be just valued in this world, the way that God needs you to be valued, you need to humble yourself, to minister to other people, to go out and lift other people up, and yes, to not take yourself so seriously, because when you do, then our heads get big and that pridefulness can come into our lives. But we're called to walk in Jesus's footsteps, to get down on our knees, to get dirty sometimes, to lift people up, to make a real difference in this world. Thank you so much for stopping in again for this weekly devotion. I hope to see you on Wednesday or Sunday as we continue through this Lenten season, as we strive to walk in Jesus' footsteps.